Half a millennium ago, in a time when Snapchat filters were yet to be invented and TikTok viral dances were still a distant dream, history takes us back to an ancient merry-go-round of madness. The one and only, the unofficial Guinness record for the longest dancing time, the absolutely mind-boggling Dancing Plague of Strasbourg, where 400 men and women danced all day and night for 60 days. No dining or feasting, just dancing until their limbs gave up on their dancing skills. Some even danced to their death. But this dancing fiesta wasn't the first time. It's Christmas Eve in the year 1021, and the little town of Kolbig is buzzing with holiday cheer. The air is crisp, and the aroma of gingerbread wafts through the cobbled streets. But wait, what's that sound? It's not sleigh bells or carolers. It's a symphony of clapping, leaping, and chanting. It's a group of 18 merrymakers caught in a wild, unstoppable dance. The local priest, usually the town's dance critic, is in a state of shock. He storms out of the church and bellows, "Stop this instant!" But the dancers, fueled by an energy even Red Bull couldn't muster, ignored his pleas and kept on dancing. Frustrated and out of holy options, the priest curses them. "May you dance for a year," he cried out. And so did they. Now, before you start thinking this is all just a fairy tale, let's pause for a reality check. Sure, the story might sound as fantastical as a dragon movie, but there's a hint of truth in this whimsical dance outbreak. Historical whisperings suggest that our merry band of Kolbig dancers were the first dancing plague recorded. It didn't end in Kolbig. Throughout the ages, these dancing plagues cropped up in different towns along the Rhine and Moselle Rivers. There was Erfurt in 1247, where people danced like their feet were possessed by disco demons. Then came the Maastricht Bridge collapse of 1248, not caused by a dragon, mind you, but by 200 enthusiastic dancers shaking it a bit too vigorously. By the time 1374 rolled around, folks in Western Germany, the Low Countries, and northeastern France caught a serious case of the dance bug. Thousands of poor souls twirled and twisted like whirligigs, screaming about visions that sounded more like a bad acid trip than a dance fest. Monks and priests were summoned to exorcise the dance demons, armed with holy water and a few choice dance moves of their own. Just when you thought the dance plague was sashaying away, the largest dance plague found a home in Strasbourg. Strasbourg, a town known for its charming cobblestone streets and its residents' love for a hearty accordion tune. But on a fateful day, the town would become a stage for a dance craze that defied logic, physics, and all notions of coordinated movement. The instigator of this rhythmic spectacle was a lady called Frau Trophäa. It all began on a very hot July 14th, a day that would make history for more than just Bastille Day celebrations. Frau Trophäa, with no orchestra, no catchy tunes, decided to take matters into her own feet. Now, one might assume that her husband, witnessing this impromptu display of interpretive dance, would cheer her on like a proud spouse. Oh, but how wrong you would be. Herr Trophäa, bless his bewildered heart, was not in the mood for a dance-off. He pleaded, he implored, he even attempted a waltz of persuasion to get his wife to cease her curious gyrations. But Frau Trophäa, with the stubbornness of a mule and the grace of a swan, continued to dance until the sky itself seemed exhausted from witnessing such a spectacle. Finally, like a marionette with cut strings, Frau Trophäa collapsed in a heap. With the rising sun, Frau Trophäa's feet were back on the dance floor. Hunger and thirst were mere inconveniences. Her viewers grew larger, and the city officials decided it was time to bundle her to the one who cursed her. Or so they thought, but not before spreading the dance fever to the rest of the bunch. Frau Trophäa was sent to St. Vitus at Saverne. The good people of Strasbourg transformed the town square into a dance floor for the ages. Hawkers hawked, porters ported, and beggars begged, all while shaking their tail feathers with a reckless abandon that would make any modern dance clubs envious. As more and more people joined this haphazard hoedown, the authorities, in a perplexed panic, decided it was time to call in the experts. the Guild of Physicians. These were the humoral theory aficionados, armed with the belief that the dance-a-thon was a result of overheated blood. Their cure was none other than more dancing. It's almost like telling someone with a headache to go bang their head against the wall for relief. Absurd, yet strangely captivating. And so, the Privy Council of Strasbourg sprang into action. Carpenters erected platforms in public squares. Musicians, drummers, fiddlers, and pipers all created a symphony of sound that could rival a circus parade. The goal? Keep the dance alive, keep the rhythm moving, and dance those darned dancing demons away. Bewildered with frustration, the Privy Council saw that the prescription to dance it out had boomeranged badly. The good people of Strasbourg? Well, they didn't see it as a dance party. Oh no. They interpreted it as St. Vitus's divine fury being displayed in these fevered dance moves. Within 2 months, this dance contagion had snatched up 400 unsuspecting citizens. In a desperate bid to regain some semblance of control over this madcap shuffle, the council issued a decree: tear down the stages. That wasn't enough to stop the dance plague from spreading like wildfire. The council went on to declare a ban on most forms of dance and music. Not only that, the most afflicted dancers were taken on wagons. Their destination? The shrine of none other than St. Vitus himself. With priests as choreographers, these dance enthusiasts were placed under a wooden carving of the saint, crosses in hand, and red shoes on feet. Holy water was sprinkled, and consecrated oil crosses were painted on these shoes. And guess what? This bizarre ritual of sorts actually worked. Slowly but surely, the stream of dance-driven souls made their way to Saverne. Now, as any wise historian will tell you, the first rule of solving a mystery is to look for patterns. And oh boy, did the dancing plague have a pattern. Virtually every outbreak decided to set up camp along the picturesque banks of the Rhine and Moselle Rivers, like some sort of peculiar river dance competition. But wait, these rivers were more than just picturesque. They were arteries of commerce, connecting different regions with varying climates and crops. So what's the connection? Could it be that the rivers were like dance conduits, channeling some sort of mysterious force that turned the townsfolk into a merry band of involuntary dancers? And this is where the great dance detectives of history put on their thinking caps. One theory that might tickle your curiosity is the idea that ergot, a mold that grew on ripening rye, was the sneaky culprit behind the dance extravaganza. Now, ergot is known to cause hallucinations, tremors, and spasms. A true recipe for a dance party, you might say. But dancing for days on end doesn't quite fill the ergotism bill. And let's be real, not everyone dances to the same beat when faced with psychotropic chemicals. Plus, the ergotism theory fails to explain the river dance pattern that these outbreaks followed. It just doesn't quite work. Another theory was that the Strasbourgeois dancers had psychogenic movement disorder caused by brutal harvests, skyrocketing grain prices, the uninvited guest known as syphilis, and a resurgence of good old-fashioned killers like leprosy and the plague. But if despair sets the stage for an intense psychological response, it fails to clarify the reason behind numerous individuals engaging in dances amidst their hardships. What prevented them from bursting into tears, raising their voices in protest, inciting chaos, engaging in conflicts, or succumbing to a gloomy hush? An anthropological theory is that from the Arctic to the Andes, from the Kalahari to the Caribbean, people entered trance-like states, possessed by spirits or forces beyond their control. These entranced participants, like characters in a mystical theater production, embody the spirits and deities that inhabit them. So, what if, just what if, the people of the Rhine and Moselle valleys were under the sway of a similar dance-infused belief system? What if a belief in a vengeful dance curse had taken root in their collective consciousness? This, folks, is where the pieces of the puzzle start to align. Only in regions where this belief took hold did the dance plague sweep through like wildfire. It's like the townsfolk had danced themselves into a trance, driven by a force beyond their control. But once the authorities put a ban on public dancing, the plague heard the music stop and thought, well, this party's a bust, time to hit the road. Did you enjoy this trip back in time to the original dance challenge? Don't forget to hit that like button, leave your thoughts in the comments below, and if you're craving more curious tales from history, be sure to subscribe. Keep dancing and stay curious with Hist Oddities.